Yeah, it was craziness day, folks. Phone's at 4%. So, yeah, complete craziness, though. Um, you know, a millionaire son actually confronted me, wanted me to leave Skaneateles. I told him no. You know what I'm saying? I told him, oh, no. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't doing nothing wrong. You know, flirting with chicks, having a good time, living it up. Haters hating, for real, you guys. Total hater. And, he got up in my face, told me to go. I said, oh, no. And I said, hey, why doesn't your your girl hit me up there? Your girlfriend. Why doesn't your girlfriend hit me up? Because I wasn't doing nothing wrong. I was making content, having a good time. I was winning. Is what was going on, folks. I was winning, and he didn't like the simple fact that I was winning. So, yeah. And he was like, oh, no, that's my mom. I said, why doesn't your mom give me a phone call then? I ain't doing nothing wrong, man. You're harassing me, buddy. Hey, what's going on, folks? Yeah, that was crazy out in the Skaneateles. Man, craziness. Almost, I was in an altercation with a very, very rich man's son. Talking crazy, telling me to get out of town because of the donations. And, I was making some good money, doing, social media, having fun, living it up. Guy gets jealous, and, gets up in my face, starts talking all big, all crazy. Hey, get out of town, you trash, la-da-da. I said, what? I said, where are you? What's going on? He's like, pack your stuff up and go. I said, oh, no, bub, I ain't going nowhere. And it was super crazy. It was super craziness, for real. Complete craziness. I was so worked up and what was going on, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what hate is right there. That man hates me because all them chicks in Skaneateles were loving me, having fun, living it up, flirting, talking to chicks, talking to the cougs, talking to the ladies. And that guy just wasn't having it. So he got all mad, all upset, all frustrated in my face. I said, hey man, tell your girlfriend to, give me a call, relax, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Tell your chick to call me. He said, oh no, that's my mom. I said, oh, tell your mom to call me. She hot. And then he got up in my face again and said, hey, you want to go right now? I said, let's go. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's rock. And his mom ended up grabbing his arm, bringing him back. That's what I'm talking about, folks. That's that's crazy. That's a scrapyard for you. That's a ladies' man. I got my bread. I'm gonna feed the ducks here, folks. He wasn't a happy customer. All the donuts and everything I was feeding the geese out there. He wasn't happy, man. But yeah, I was a millionaire son right there. I don't ever throw the first swing. I was waiting for him, to be honest. Once he threw the first swing, it would have been it. So, ladies, man, here, so it is what it is. Cops, Skaneateles cops. I love them. They're amazing. Really nice dudes. They said, hey, you gotta go, man. I said, no problemo. They took me back to the park, and now I'm back here feeding the ducks. Feeding the ducks here, folks. Feeding the ducks. Oh, yeah. Got bread all over the lawn. That's another reason why that guy was probably upset, too, man. He's a hater. I was throwing donuts to the seagulls out in Skaneateles, and that guy is just a complete hater. I get back from Tops, getting some bread for the seagulls out in Syracuse, and guy, kid, young guy about my age, probably 30, 32, ends up getting in my face, hooting, hollering, hey, get your stuff up and go. We don't like you around here. And I said, I ain't going nowhere. Seriously. I said, I ain't going nowhere. It's crazy. And it's craziness, for real. Straight up trash, man.